sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We are rolling, and we're here on a Tuesday here on the Snake Sports Talk Show live from Denver. Wherever and however you may be watching and listening, thanks for making us part of your day. Wasn't quite up all night long, especially with that midnight call with that Dodgers World Series. But, Chase, I've got to say, that was a heck of a World Series, what's going on right now, because, I mean, that lasted till midnight. I don't even know how in the hell.
No,
I
well,
went to sleep.
on your end it did. Over here it lasted until 2:30 in the morning.
I literally, like, by the 12th and 13th inning, I'm not over-exaggerating this. I literally was like, I'm falling asleep. I can't even possibly make it all the way through to 18 innings. We got a good one.
Back, my friend. It's been a long time, and the technical difficulties look like they are finally behind you, so it is good to have you back.
Well, I'll tell you what, to really kind of start some things up, let's talk about that crazy 18 innings it was last night for the Dodgers and for the Blue Jays. So, again, pitching is a big deal, especially when you're up and into the postseason. Mostly what also comes with it is your offense. And so the Dodgers, and however that you wanted to look at it from here, they lasted all the way through until the 18th inning. And it was a big one. But usually in games like this, both teams, I will not be surprised. They will be tired tonight because you're watching Shohei Ohtani, who's now has to pitch tonight, and he's also got to have an at-bat. So that's going to be a long night. I've never seen anybody really, like, overcome it and go through with it, but I got to tell you, it was just a crazy game in itself. But it just does tell you about how big pitching can be for some teams, because it's not that simple, especially when you have to go to an 18th inning type of game. Pitching was great on both ends. Max Scherzer, by the way, who's been there with the Nationals and who's been there with the Tigers and has been there even with the Dodgers. Max Scherzer was definitely a guy that you can trust and count on when it came to starting pitching. But all throughout that night, Blue Jays, they showed their cards, so did the Dodgers, and it lasted all the way longer than it should have. I mean, Roki Sasaki did a very good job when it came to the bullpen. But now it's going to have to require a lot more than just what we saw last night. So all I know is that game in particular, it's difficult. You never really see games like that. And I'm already going to bed. It's a school night. I really don't even have the time and the energy. And that's usually what it is. I mean, look, World Series are often unpredictable when you go to these kinds of games. But once again, this year and last year, all it had to be handed off to was one guy in particular to walk it all off, and that is Mr. World Series himself, Freddie Freeman.
In Los Angeles. Freeman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the catch strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it. It's a repeat hero with the last word on a
just an absolute crazy, there's nothing really to put all into words. It was insane. I couldn't even believe it, but we got some big news. We'll bring that up before we end up going up and into break because we got a really good interview here for you guys tonight. Chris Hovan is going to be stopping by. Let's talk about one game real quickly that I didn't really pay attention to, and thank God I didn't, which was Kansas City and Washington. Listen, I got nothing against the Chiefs at all. Everybody keeps saying the Chiefs are back, and I mean, look, I think they are. Offensively, it's slow to become coming up with it. We knew against the Raiders they were going to be shutting them out. They're playing against Marcus Mariota. And the Chiefs offense, they're getting guys healthy. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Patrick Mahomes is doing his stuff. But last night, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. That game should have never even have looked like that. Because honestly, a 28-7 game felt a lot like a 24-20 game. I mean, that's just how bad it was when it came to trying to put everything together. But not all is lost for the Kansas City Chiefs. Not all is lost. I do think, though, the Kansas City, they are going to be coming up to the heat of things because you got to play the Colts. You got to play the Chargers a second time. You got to play up a bunch of other AFC teams, even including Buffalo, who I know that I don't really have a whole lot of big-time faith with because when I show you my NFL top 10, you're going to probably be reacting pretty crazy right now. But in the end, Kansas City won the game. I think, in my opinion, they're still a very good team. They will make the playoffs. There's no question about it. But as far as totality in the AFC, Colts are clearly the better team from the top to bottom of the roster. They're healthy. Jonathan Taylor's running all over the place. And Daniel Jones, his resurgence continues to shine. And then you got Denver, who, by the way, their offense didn't even look like a diesel engine last week. They looked good. They were actually connecting. They were finally ended up getting down the field. And you even have, a couple of other teams that you'll be facing up in the next few weeks. But Kansas City knows they're slowly getting better. They know that they're going to take this win and move on with it. It's not going to be a big deal to them. But again, I think Kansas City coming away with the win was a good win. I don't think it was a great win, but for all we know, Kansas City might even be coming up into a roadblock, but we don't quite know yet. So that's what's going to be the question mark coming up from it. But I saw the highlights of it. I was not truthfully impressed. And Kansas City, they came away 28-7, but it felt a lot like 24-20. All right, Chase, we got breaking news apparently. And so what is it?
So there's been 3 things recently reported. One is officially official, but the other 2 are just speculation at the moment, but they are expecting it to come into fruition within the next week. A.J. Brown is looking to be traded to the New England Patriots for a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round conditional pick this year, according to Ian Rappaport. Now, it has not been made official.
So that's the deal on the table. Okay.
That is the deal on the table. It is up to the Eagles whether or not they want to accept that offer and have A.J. Brown to the Patriots.
Look, you had Jalen Hurts, who had 171 passing yards, and he had 4 tutties and no picks. They were passing the ball barely, but they were I'll talk a little bit more about that with Philadelphia because they still are a physically capable team, but there are some things that do need to be cleaned up from here, but it will be interesting to see how that comes around. I did end up hearing about a few other news that just happened about Keon White and then Kyle Duggar, who ended up just getting traded. So 2 Patriots, 2 of them, they're gone, which one, they need a blanket. The other one, what more defense do you need? That defense is atrocious after Green Bay. What more do you need?
And right now the Saints hold the number 1 overall pick because of the Jets winning against the Bengals this past week. And it has just been announced that Tyler Shuck is making his NFL debut this week and has been named the starter for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff coming up around the corner. By the way, we got a very good guest coming up. Chris Hoven's going to be joining us here in a few. Really excited to get his insights with the Bucks, the Vikings, so much more. By the way, Boston College. A lot of shakeups in college football. I mean, you already know that with the Brian Kelly situation. So lots of shakeups. I talked about it yesterday. We'll get into a little bit more of that here coming up next up and onto the program. Well, folks, like we said, because yesterday was a prime day for major sports. We had Monday Night Football, we had the World Series, NBA, and then hockey action all in one day, which means our partners at Payday Fantasy was busy all last night. And they're continuing to get busy all week long. And guys, it's the prime time of when the season starts up for the NBA and the NHL. But we know that the NFL season's been going on strong. Absolutely love it. But Payday Fantasy is there for you as your go-to player pick'em fantasy app. You can download it on your Google Play. Download it on Google Play in the App Store on your mobile device. Sign up today. And by the way, 2 great things to try out for Payday Fantasy. Number one is you get a free $5 entry just by signing up and joining. Plus, when you deposit more than 25, and for 100% of your deposit matchup of $100, just use the promo code SNAKE. That's all you got to do. Use the promo code SNAKE when you sign up. 100%, where you can end up getting your matching deposit bonus of up to $100. That's all you got to do. Very simple things. Check out Payday Fantasy for yourself today. Sign up, pick the player, pick the projection, and then get paid with Payday Fantasy. Available now on Google Play and the App Store.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket, and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com, and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
So lots of moves happening up and into the NFL as we are awaiting Chris Hoven here up and onto the program. He'll be stopping by. Really excited about this interview here too as well. But you just saw a bunch of trades ended up getting happening. And here's what I will say about the Philadelphia Eagles, because they did come away with a big win last week. Listen, Philadelphia, people on the outsides don't really understand the Philadelphia Eagles rather than Philadelphia Eagle fans. And it's just really just goes to show the kind of culture that they have. But I do know this, is that when it comes to Philadelphia, they are physically good with the defense that they have. You're not asking Jalen Hurts to have to do so much on top of what they already have as far as their potential goes. Now, Chase did mention that there is a deal in place where the Patriots have already gotten rid of 2 defensive players. We'll get into that with the news. But A.J. Brown, they really would like him in New England. And knowing his relationship with Mike Vrabel, that could be a possibility next week. And we all know that the deadline is next week. And there's already been a bunch of moves that's happened. But Philadelphia, I will get into this. Even with the Giants game as the way that it went. Now, you know that these 2 teams obviously are division rivals. They've now split each other this year. And the Eagles, like the Giants caught the Eagles on a bad short week because they were coming off of a loss against Denver. And then all of a sudden they had to play the Giants on a short week. So it was already bad news for them as it is. My biggest thought is, and the big thing that I figured about this is the Eagles knew that they were going to have to get right. They were going to have to get right with their offensive play calling, however that they were going to end up fixing this up. But Jalen Hurts, though, 15 of 20, 179 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns in the air. So he's passing the ball, and they're scoring. Then Saquon Barkley, 14 carries for 150 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. I'm not saying the Eagles' offense, like Kansas City's, they basically have breathed new life. But this is exactly what you needed to have, especially if you were going to have an in-house coach as your offensive coordinator, because you can't be doing 4 consecutive tush-push plays and expect that that's going to end up being your life preserver. That doesn't work like that with Philadelphia. Philadelphia utilizes that to keep possession on their side. And what's funny about this is look around the league. It's much more influenced than you think. It's actually highly effective. There were other opposing defenses that were trying several times to stop the tush push. Like they had a defensive lineman up front sideways just in order to just collapse the feet of the offensive lineman when the shove's about to happen. So Philadelphia, they're physically good. We know that top to bottom, they're a talented roster. There's no question in my mind that I think Philadelphia will make the playoffs. Like I said to people on record, I said, this will be the most battle-tested Philadelphia Eagles team for a multitude of reasons. Is because when you were playing the Giants and you're playing the Broncos and you're playing a couple of teams that are basically matching the same defensive physicality as you have to improvise. That's who Jalen Hurts is. Jalen Hurts is a point guard improviser. He doesn't necessarily have to sit into the pocket every single game and just basically play 3 flags up with all those receivers, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert, several others. He doesn't have to necessarily do that every single week, but you expect Jalen Hurts to go and execute, and everything else will fall into place. It's hard to really define who Jalen Hurts is when you know they've got a very good, talented roster around him. That's young. You know, they're in their prime. They haven't necessarily have gotten bigger contracts yet. So Philadelphia knows they're going to be coming to that predicament. But what you're seeing from Philadelphia, I think they figured out a way in which they can really consistently work up the offense without having to feel like you are reverting back to what hurt you back in 2023. I get it. You know, Kellen Moore, Shane Steichen, when those guys are gone, you know that they were going to end up getting coaching jobs. One's getting a better uphill momentum than the other one. The other one, they got a clean house, and that's New Orleans. But Philadelphia, they know how things are ran. They're physical. They run the football. And at the same time, if you want Jalen Hurts to throw the ball, he'll throw the ball. But he's not going to be sitting there and just sitting up and into the pocket constantly and feeling like he has to be the one to put the ball in his own hands to navigate what the Eagles are trying to do. So it's hard to really figure out Philly like that. But they are a good team. I expect they will make the playoffs again. But I don't know if this is going to be a similar journey road than everybody is really anticipating. Let's get to Chase with the news because we got a lot to discuss.
And now, here we go. Hey everyone, it's story time. This is the hot press.
Yeah, I just think with Philadelphia, they're physical. I felt like this week they figured some things out because Saquon looked good. And Jalen Hurts, he didn't even crack over 200 passing yards, but 4 touchdowns in the air. Like, you're asking him to pass, but you're not asking him to make the big boy throws like Herbert or Mahomes or Allen. And that's where I think Philadelphia, they are trying to find that consistency. But they are a very good team. I just think they were battle-tested. We're seeing that right now. I didn't think the Giants were going to sweep them, but I did feel like they were going to come across. If a team plays them physically, like if you're playing the Colts or you're playing the Chiefs or you're playing even the Giants front, expect the physical defensive play to start to come at you. That's the only way that you can really play.
Oh, yeah. No, it definitely is. And I think that, with the kind of friction between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense, I think a breakup is needed for both of them. But before I get into some other big news that's kind of like being rumored, and not necessarily true, but we'll have to wait and see how the next couple of weeks play out. I want to get to a couple injuries that happened this past week to some notable rookies across the league. Cam Skattebo is out for the season with a dislocated ankle that he had surgery on. And man, that was a big key component to the Giants offense and what made them click. And I know that they are in the wide receiver market as well, trying to look to build upon getting some more offensive pieces for Jackson Dart. They've got a week. Now let's see if they can get like Rashid Shaheed, Jacoby Myers, Chris Olave, somebody in there that will give the Giants the spark that they need while also trying to compete and stuff for that division, because that division right now is up for grabs.
Yeah, and I know they're going to be getting Tyron Tracy to end up running the football, but yeah, I feel bad for Cam Skattebo. I mean, he was having a heck of a start, and they were figuring it was going to be the duos. But here's the thing, though, Chase. This was the predicament the Giants were going to have to come across. You didn't know if Jackson Dart was going to work. You didn't know if Cam Skattebo was honestly going to work with this atrocious offensive line. And then all of a sudden, you know what you have. Now, if it's up to Joe Shane and them to fix the offensive line, this is going to be a team that could be majority. I mean, they could probably be playing similarly to what Philadelphia does because they can play physical. They have a very good defensive front. I think you could go and get a few guys on the secondary to help patch things up. But the Giants would be up and in good shape. It's just right now, I think there's a bunch of depth that's right now lacking in some of the key spots. But that's heartbreaking, man. When I found out about that, I was like, damn. Now I got to look for next year to watch Cam Skattebo just be running the football all year long.
And Malik Neighbors back with Jackson Dart next year, too. It's going to be electric. Moving on to another key injury that is going to hurt one of the better defenses in the league in the Cleveland Browns. Having their, all-star linebacker Carson Schlesinger, who is on pace for Defensive Rookie of the Year, is a Luke Kuechly clone, because that's the way he reminds me, or like how he reminds me of the play style. He's a physical downhill guy. He reads the field well, and he's all over the place. Got his first career interception in the NFL this past week, and he got his leg rolled up on by one of our defensive tackles. He ended up getting out of the game in the third quarter, or the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, and it says that he was diagnosed with a high ankle sprain. The Browns are on a bye week this week, giving him extra time to rest, ample time, but there's a chance he might be put on IR now, so that way he's back in 4 weeks.
Yeah, when are we supposed to see Shedeur Sanders start at some point? I'm serious.
4 games of the season, like no matter what.
Well, I just don't even know if Kevin Stefanski is honestly going to last until those 4 games, because
we'll see.
What my problem is that I do think this is a very good defensive team, and they've shown that. And I've told you this before. I'm believing next year it will be Cleveland shocking people for a few reasons, but I have to know if the quarterback can work, because at that point, if I'm Andrew Berry, I can go into that with full confidence with the picks that I have, and especially with the guys that I know that I'm bringing back and the guys that are retiring, and then I go in full reload and then just get a lot of these talented pieces. That's the one thing that they have to figure that out, because I'm not just going to sit there and just feel like, Shedeur this, Shedeur that. I want to see the kid play. That's the only way that I can really truthfully criticize him, is if I see him play. I'm not trying to basically see him for what is happening outside, all that. I look, to me, I'm to a point where I'm a little bit impatient, but it's just because
we all are.
You don't want to go in a season where you're getting all these picks. You're getting all these picks. You're doing a lot of business. You got a very good amount of capital. Who the hell's your quarterback? It's not going to be Dillon Gabriel. I think a lot of people already realize that. And that quote-unquote winning quarterback in college, throw that out the door. We already know what Dillon Gabriel pretty much is. He has the similar qualities to Tua, where he could throw under 2 seconds. But what is he after that? That's the only thing that I don't...
3 teams for him to be successful in college.
Yeah. 3 teams to be...
It's insane, because we're all saying the same thing. They even asked Kevin after the game and everything. Apparently there's been sources that have been going around Cleveland saying that he's going to start the final 4 games no matter what. I don't know. I mean, as of right now, the players are backing Dillon Gabriel, and so are they with the coach. But I think if they keep losing, I think that's going to change the minds of a lot of different people. And Miles was visibly frustrated on the sidelines. I could see him going to Andrew Berry and/or Jimmy Haslam in the next couple of weeks, telling them, "Hey, start Shedeur, or we're going to have some
I think
big
they're
issues."
going to get that's my thing, is I think they're going to get impatient pretty quickly than you think, because they're tired of the teeter of this. They really are, because they want to know if the kid can play and he works for this system. If he doesn't, that's going to be a major problem.
And with us having 2 first-round picks, I know that Andrew Berry's going to focus on getting offensive line for us, which is a big need. And then another offensive playmaker, maybe like Cardinal Tate and everything. Who knows? Moving on to another big piece of news that is rumored to be happening, which I did not think would happen until after Kevin Stefanski got let go, is Jonathan Gannon is rumored that either this week or next week, barring any losses, if he loses this week and or next week, he could potentially be the next coach gone out of Arizona.
Well, here's the problem with this, is with Kyler Murray out of the picture, and you've had Jacoby Brissett now for 2 weeks, that offense has looked completely different. Okay, and we've figured this out. I truthfully think Kyler Murray is tapped out. I don't know if he's truthfully focused and all the rest that's happening. But for Jonathan Gannon, my only thing for him is it's more of the defense. Because to me, what I figured out in the 2 weeks that Kyler Murray has been out of the lineup and he's been dealing with the injury, I have figured out that the offense has now looked completely different with Jacoby Brissett. What that tells me they could be in the market for a quarterback. It's not going to be in the free agent market. It will definitely be in the draft. Now, the only reason I don't believe Jonathan Gannon will get fired that quickly is because we figured out one problem and the offense is now clicking. We now need to figure out the second problem, which is basically consistency and then trying to get the defense on a good roll. Because remember, Will Johnson, they got that corner from Michigan. He's really good. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if it's really the option. If I'm Arizona, I would want to do that. I know the DeMercado thing, like, I know that some players feel a certain type of way and he gets frustrated, but the Cardinals have been having issues in the last few years. I felt like that they figured out an issue that is usually, Chase, like 2-3 years you got to figure out that issue. They figured it out quick. They figured it out. They get the offense rolling this way. Now, they did end up releasing and bringing back Michael Carter, who they've been dealing with running back injury. So I just find it hard to believe. I don't think they really move off of Jonathan Gannon that easily. Injuries is part of it. They figured out one issue. They just now have to get consistency in the middle of that mix. If they get a new quarterback.
4 seasons, though. Like, that's the thing.
Yes, but here's the thing, though. This is because, again, I would hate to move off of a coach that I feel like the next year it's going to look completely different. They already know Kyler Murray. For as long as he's been there since 2019, this is inexcusable and unacceptable. The way that things have been rolling this way. Because you only make to the playoffs once and get manhandled against the Rams. Since then, what have you really done on offense? They really haven't gotten anything clicking up on offense. Now I feel like that they do. I hate to just move away from – these are one of the hardest situations to be in because – you don't think the coaching like this could last. But if they figured out something, they're giving you an idea. Hey, if we draft a quarterback, okay, and the quarterback turns out to really work out our offense, all we need to do now is just fix up the rest of the defense. And maybe you have to fix out the rest of the offensive line. I would just hate to cut ties with a coach that I know is trying. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, Brandon Staley, he had to go. There was no way. Aaron Glenn, he's going to be gone by the end of the year. He's clearly not a head coach. He's more of a coordinator. He can't work his side of the ball. So things like that, even with what just happened with Brian Callahan. Look at that mess in Tennessee. You think anybody's going to want that job unless you get a culture-type coach to really just turn this thing around? That's the only time that you will. But I'm defending Jonathan Gannon here. I don't think you should move off from that easily. That's just me.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and it's going to be interesting to see, what coaches are going to be gone, because I've been hearing Stephen Ross likes Mike McDaniel, and a lot of the players still like Mike McDaniel, so he's staying in Miami for now, for the time being, until we see, a drastic change otherwise. Kevin Stefanski, I don't think that Jimmy Haslam wants to fire him during the season anymore. I think he wants to try to get away from that narrative with Cleveland and everything. So we could potentially see a season-ending firing if anything. I know that right now he is mulling handing over play calling to his OC, Tommy Rees, after the bye week is up. And then I think that's going to be that's usually the first step that a coach takes in trying to get things back on track, because a coach, defense or offense, usually hands over the play calling to somebody else, and then if something does not change or does not work within the next 2 weeks after that, then they usually get let go. So we'll have to wait and see what happens after that, but more than likely we could see a potential Kevin Stefanski firing either before the end of the season or right after the season's over.
I feel like it could be, because if they keep teetering with this, it's going to be before the season ends.
You're going to keep Myles Garrett happy, and I just don't think that Kevin wants to start Shedeur. I think the reason why they traded Joe Flacco is Andrew Berry's been pushing Kevin to try to start Shedeur. Kevin really wanted Dillon Gabriel because he thought that he worked well with his offense. Obviously, it's not going well at all. And, everybody wants to blame these offensive playmakers. You've got Harold Fannin Jr., you've got Quinshon Judkins.
You got Jerry
Jeudy. You got playmakers and everything. It's just you don't see Dillon.
You know what Quinshon Judkins does for you on your run game, and all you really need is just a beefing up the O-line, You got to get some defensive pieces in the middle of it. That's the only thing that you really would have to do. Even if you get another wide receiver.
Taking the deep shots, and we also don't see him throwing down the middle of the field.
No.
And the one thing that Shedeur is good at is throwing
and that's what
in the middle of the field.
That's what separates the two, is because, and we're saying this about Tua right now. Tua, I do not ever. You watch him in the pocket. How many times does he have to literally force throw from in the pocket just to get it down to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle? And those are fast guys. These are guys that you could, like, if you had Herbert in the pocket throwing to those guys, you're hitting them in strides. You're not hitting them to where they have to stop at least like 2 feet just to go and get the ball that is clearly underthrown. Like, that's the complete difference up from there. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Time's ticking. I'm tired of waiting. Like, we just have to see it.
Yeah.
All right, Chase with the news.
And now, here we go. Hey, everyone, it's story time. This is the Hot Press.
So while we await Chris Hovan coming up onto the show, I definitely want to talk New England. Many people that have watched New England football after the days of Brady, and I've talked to a lot of people that are close by in the New England area, and a lot of people will tell you right now, New England has started to move into the category. They are way ahead of schedule than what a lot of teams are. I mean, a lot faster than when the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh were. Like, Mike Vrabel, and what everybody has been saying about this, Drake May is, in fact, their franchise quarterback. What he did against the Browns and how he was able to do it just shows you that Drake May's time was ready. And remember, they played him later, about close to mid and into the later end of the season. And it's only because we knew that Gerard Mayo was not a coach. We knew that he wasn't going to be taking on the duties that we were hoping he would have been at least better and competent in, but he's not Mike Vrabel. Okay. And that's clear. That just goes to show. Now, a couple teams that had Mike Vrabel on their radar, like the Chargers were one of those teams. And what they said is that they loved Mike Vrabel's interview, which only told you they know he was going to get a head coaching gig, because after Tennessee, you took a year off. You needed to take some time off, take a vacation, and be ready for when the next opportunity presents itself. And it did. And he goes back into New England, goes back into the stomping grounds. And by the way, he is already still talking about Belichick. He's still throwing shots, because Belichick, we already know this was a recipe for disaster. Like, you don't get Mac Jones, an offensive coordinator, and instead you use Matt Patricia as an offensive coordinator. This is not a family-ran business. And none of these NFL teams, they really are, well, unless you're the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you're always going to be ran in a family business. But Bill Belichick, the one biggest problem is that in New England, a lot of this was to really just get back at Robert Kraft. Okay, let's be honest there. He wanted to prove that with his pride and with his ego, they're like, hey, I'm the one that basically constructed this. You've had 20 years of dominance. Not every team is going to have a late round quarterback named Tom Brady who had the IQ smarts to distribute and to be a great game manager. Like, you got to understand something. The difference between Drake May and Tom Brady, Brady was not athletically gifted when he came into the league. You should understand that. But he was very much mentally smart, had the best IQ, knew exactly how to keep time of possession on his side. But Drake May, people compared him to a Justin Herbert-esque type, where he can be comfortable in the pocket, throws a beautiful deep ball. We've seen it several times with Kayshon Boutte, Hunter Henry, a lot of these young receivers. The reason in which that what Chase pointed out, where the Eagles are being offered that by New England, is because you got to have a big play receiver I mean, you got Stephon Diggs, but you need somebody that Mike Vrabel trusts and counts on, and that is A.J. Brown. A.J. can go physical, toe-to-toe, and can match up with all those one-on-ones. Like, Stephon Diggs will only give you the big home run plays. So I just think with New England, it makes a lot of sense. You're up and into the cold. You're out there and you're winning games. In New England, they got a brighter future to look ahead. And Drake May, in my opinion, is a franchise quarterback that for New England fans, they're already renewing their season tickets. They are continuing to come back into Gillette Stadium, and they love what they see from their young quarterback. 18 of 24, almost 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Drake May is the future in New England. That New England, let me be honest with you. Chase will be shocked, but he probably will understand this. Last time New England ever had a athletically gifted and talented quarterback was Drew Bledsoe. That was the last one. Drake May is now the next one running up. Nobody is going to forget about Tom Brady's 20-year legacy. Nobody is going to do that. But when you look at a franchise quarterback, athletically gifted, very smart. By the way, that left tackle, Will Campbell, how's he been working? He's working great, isn't he? You get a left tackle to protect your franchise quarterback, and you now have the confidence in which Mike Vrabel understands what's happening here. Now, New England ended up trading away Kyle Duggar and Keon White. They've gotten rid of 2 defensive players, but they are getting more back because I think what's happening is that New England's looking at themselves and Mike Vrabel's kind of going, hey, we got something special here. And we're trying to turn the page of what was so bad that Bill Belichick left behind because we know that he can't scout talent. Okay, he can't. The last Pro Bowler that he had as an offensive weapon was Rob Gronkowski. Everybody else, N'Keal Harry, all these other receivers that he picked out, yeah, that wasn't working for him. He's not exactly a talent scout. Okay, when Dante Scarnecchia left the building, all hell broke loose. And you gave all that power to Bill Belichick. And now he's unemployed because North Carolina ended up buying out his contract. And they were like, I'm done. Done. I ain't doing this. Because we knew that college wasn't really going to work out. So it's amazing to me, Chase, that we could literally look at New England as a new culture. Like, again, they went through that many years of hell after Tom Brady, and it showed you a lot of what the true colors that Bill Belichick is. He's not a talent scout. He's not. Like, that's like saying, like, people that look for specific talents, especially in the work that we do, we're not just going to be insular and just look for TikTokers. We're going to look for people that, number one, are confident, number two, are capable of being right in front of a mic in a camera and just basically speaking out sports as we do. But we have a sense because we have the currency and the constructive criticism to basically look at a lot of these teams and players. New England knew they had to shake things up. And that's why Mike Vrabel, he waited the perfect time to come back to New England. The Chargers wanted him, and they even said they loved the interview, but it wasn't the time yet. Now, Vrabel with Drake May and a franchise left tackle. Watch out, Buffalo. This is not going to be quite the AFC East that you think it is. And Miami is literally like, yeah, so what? They ended up blowing out against the Atlanta Falcons. So what?
I mean, I don't know if that franchise left tackle is that good because he let up 5 sacks to Myles Garrett.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Can anybody stop Myles Garrett? Seriously. You saw Joe Alt get freaking picked up by his own feet last year. Okay, he's just a different
Joe Alt is 315 pounds and 6'7".
That's what I'm saying. It just happens. Myles Garrett is just a completely different specimen. But I'm saying when you're facing against your own division, because look, Buffalo, they finally got their draft pick, Maxwell Hairston, back. Okay. Who knows what that secondary is going to look like? But if it looks atrocious, Buffalo is in trouble.
Buffalo
and then
needs a wide receiver badly.
They do. And the other thing is, you're not worried about Miami. I don't see this lasting long. The Jets, you're really not worried about them because the Jets can't really get anything right. But when you look at totalities of teams, like New England and the Chargers or Kansas City or Indianapolis, I don't think they could go toe-to-toe quite yet with a Chiefs team, but I'll be shocked if they literally do something that's crazy. But New England, it's a bright future for them. It really is. Like Drake May is showing week after week he is their franchise quarterback.
And I told everybody coming out, or I told everybody that coming out in that draft class, Drake May was the best quarterback in that draft class. Jaden Daniels was number 2, JJ was 3, and Caleb was 4. And nobody wanted to listen to me when I said Drake May. And everybody's just like, you are crazy.
I thought of Drake May.
Now the guy is like in the MVP conversation. It is insane.
Well, let's be honest here. He actually landed low-key in a situation that eventually Mike Vrabel will come into. Because look at Caleb Williams in Chicago. This is not working, dude. This is not working with Chicago. It is too inconsistent. It's way too much of he just throws too many fastballs. And it's like he's not really hitting the layups like you should. Jaden Daniels landed in a very good position. Bo Nix followed up into a really good position. I know people want to write off Michael Penix, but let me be honest with you and be very clear. Zach Robinson has to go. This is not working for their offensive play scheme. It's not.
Because if you can back more.
And here's the other thing. You put in, even with Penix hurt, you put in Kirk Cousins and it still looks like this? That is the most unacceptable thing that you could possibly do when it comes to offensive play scheme. I can't say so much for the defense. The defense is
their draft picks, man. They've spent so many on defense and not enough on offense.
But they here's the thing. I don't think offensively they were in such a dire need than people think. Like, yeah, they lost Drew Dahlman to Chicago, but I don't think it's as drastic.
Drake London as a true option.
Yeah, but they got Darnell Mooney, and they let go of Ray
Darnell
McLeod.
Mooney is like a third or fourth option on that team.
Yeah, but Darnell Mooney on good days can give you big plays. He can give you the big plays, not the all-around receiver type that Drake London is about. Then you got to think about Kyle Pitts. You also got to think about their dual running back sets. Like, they have guys, and they can maybe go and get somebody in the draft. I feel like they could draft a wide receiver next year. I really do think they can. There's not going to be too many of them because I even spoke with John Vogel, the NFL draft analyst, and he even said it himself. Outside of Jordan Tyson and Cardell Tate and the one other receiver, who do you really have? There's really not a whole lot of them.
Is the only other option.
That's the thing. So there are options. There's just not many of them.
This is a weak wide receiver class, dominant offensive line class, and a dominant defensive line class.
And you know what? Even a dominant secondary class.
Yeah. And the safeties are going to be a lot better than they are a lot better than the people are giving them credit for, because Dante Moore is looking pretty decent. Fernando Mendoza's looking well. Ty Simpson, depending and stuff, and then Lenore Sellers. I think he needs to go back one more season before you can really determine that. I think Arch needs to go back one more season, coming out with Dylan Riley.
Yeah, he's going to be back. Yeah, he's going to be back for one more season.
But this whole draft, it's going to be offensive line and defensive line heavy in the first round, and then a wide receiver here and there, and then a quarterback sprinkled into that mix as well. Because I do not see wide receivers going off the board until next year when the golden child Jeremiah Smith gets into.
I think wide receivers this year, with the way that they are, I think these are good for complementary offenses. These are complementary pieces offenses would like to have, because those are often your fourth option wide receivers, receivers that can often you get utilized for the special teams. So that's really what I look at. I mean, the running back class, too, is also back-to-back. It's really good. I love the kid in Washington. I love Justice Haynes. I like a bunch of them that are going to be coming out at the end of this draft. However, let's get into our top 10. So we do it every week. Our top 10s, we got to be honest about it. Here we go, ranking them up from 10 to 1.
Rank them up.
Yeah, it's time.
Let's go, baby. It's on time right now. The top 10 NFL teams, according to Jake.
Number 10.
All right, so the number 10 team, in my opinion, that, again, I don't know what to do with them. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. They got physical. They played up a pretty good football game. Jalen Hurts, 4 touchdown passes. Look, Saquon Barkley got alive. He, 150 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. I'm not saying Philadelphia's offense is completely back yet, but this is the stepping stone into what they do well. They split with the Giants this year. Very good to kind of close up that chapter. But Philadelphia is physical top to bottom. They got some really good players. I really am liking with where Philadelphia is going. I think they're battle hardened. Not sure what the next couple of weeks are going to give us, but I got them at 10.
Number 9.
The number 9 team, they haven't moved up a bit, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They came away with a win. They limited to 3 points. Listen, Baker Mayfield, he's slowly getting himself back up and into the contentions of MVP, but he is a very good quarterback. They've been dealing with Mike Evans, who's now out for the season with that collarbone. You've got Jalen McMillan, who's eventually going to be coming back, and Emeka Egbuka and Tez Johnson. They got receivers for days. So Tampa, in my opinion, they're capable of being physical, and depending on who they're playing and the week it's on, that's usually where I would determine that for Tampa Bay moving through the season. I got them at 9.
Number 8.
Number 8, the one team that I talked about, who I'm really excited about, is the New England Patriots. Drake May, week after week, is continuously showing flashes why he is the future franchise quarterback. Also, even if they dealt away the 2 defensive players, they are getting picks back. Defensively, they will be physical in your face, okay? They did that against Cleveland, even though Cleveland has a very good defense. But what Drake May was able to do, he was able to spot up a lot of his receivers. They were able to get separation, and they were hitting them, and he was hitting them in strides. Like that beautiful deep ball pass that was executed was great. But we know that Cleveland, they got to figure out their quarterback situation. But in that game in itself, New England continues to get on a roll, and it's been looking really good so far. I got them at 8.
Number 7.
The number 7 team, I know they were up and in to a bye. I wonder why that didn't end up loading up for me. It's actually for number 7. I got the LA Rams. So in my opinion, with the way that I look at the Rams right now, they're on a bye. We know that they're going to be getting healthy. Puka Nacua, he's going to be back. Devontae Adams. Listen, this has been a hell of a year for Matthew Stafford. Okay, Stafford has been throwing the ball very well. Kyron Williams has been running the football very well. And then just not too long ago, they ended up trading for a corner. They ended up getting Roger McCreary. Now, he has not played his best in Tennessee. But what I feel like is that it's low risk, high reward type of deal that I think they got. So hopefully Roger McCreary fills up the gap there at number 7.
Number 6.
Number 6, no question. It's the Seattle Seahawks. On a bye, I know, but Sam Darnold and company, Sam has been throwing the ball extremely well. They've been running the football efficiently. They are a very physical type of defense. I don't know what has gotten into Tariq Woolen at all. There have been rumor reports that Tariq Woolen, they could be potentially cutting ties. So he could be somebody that you could watch going into the trade market because they're going to want a corner. Now, they do have a bunch of other really good corners. Kobe Bryant, Devin Witherspoon. They have a very good secondary. Now, they could be in the market to maybe potentially get a running back, maybe another defensive player. But Seattle right now, they look like a very good physical team. I got them at 6.
Number 5.
Number 5, I got the Detroit Lions. I mean, right now, with the way that I've seen things, Detroit has been looking good up on offense. Jared Goff has been throwing efficiently, and defensively, Aiden Hutchinson has been looking like his absolute best. So Detroit knows how to play gritty football, and Dan Campbell is a huge contributor of trusting the team that he has. He's also somebody that really will take shots. And it's no question, in my opinion, that I think Detroit, even for a lot of these other teams in the NFC, whether their own division rival, or you're playing against Tampa, or the Eagles, or the Rams, or even Seattle, you're going to be facing up against some very good physical teams, but Detroit looks ready to.
Number 4.
Number 4, I got to be honest, that performance on Sunday night from Jordan Love and the way that that defense was, they need a secondary, and that's the Green Bay Packers. The Packers know that they have to have a secondary out there next to Xavier McKinney that's going to help them in spurts and in situations where they really, really got to end up shutting it down, especially when you're facing up against talented offensive teams like Detroit, the Rams, even if you get a fully healthy wide receiving core, the Bucs, and a physical team like Philadelphia. They won't throw the ball more often, so that may end up matching them physically, especially with Micah Parsons. But the thing about it is Green Bay in that second half, Jordan Love looked comfortable. He was throwing dimes. He was completing a bunch of passes consecutively. So I think Green Bay, they've looked good. I got them at 4.
Number 3.
Number 3, I wasn't really easily impressed, but I have them up at 3 because the offense right now has been steaming, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. Just because they won 28-7, it felt a lot like a 24-20 game, in my opinion. But Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, they're playing their good football. I don't think they fully have mastered it down yet with their whole entire offense, but Kansas City, listen, the defense has actually been playing exceptionally well. They've been shutting it down. I know they've been playing against the backup quarterback, but Kansas City, they got a very good offense. They're starting to steamroll. Isaiah Pacheco, I know, is dealing with an injury. Who knows what's going to happen right now with the running back market? They could be in the market for one, but I got Kansas City up there at 3.
Number 2.
Number 2, I think they finally have hit a consistent rate on offense. That's the Denver Broncos. That defense really was giving hell to Dak Prescott. And listen, what I've been saying about the Denver Broncos is their offense has felt a lot like a diesel engine. You have to carbonate it. You have to get all the smoke out of the engine and up and into the carburation in order for it to run smoothly. That's what Bo Nix and the offense has literally looked like. But this past week, throws for 4 passing touchdowns, and he's spreading the ball to everybody. J.K. Dobbins is running the football well. R.J. Harvey, how about that rookie? Denver is finding their consistency up and on offense. If they keep up this route, that is where Denver could be pretty scary up and into the playoffs for the remainder of the stretch. I got them at 2.
Number 1.
Number 1 team, like I said, Indianapolis Colts, top to bottom, very talented team. Jonathan Taylor is having an MVP caliber season. There's no question. And I think what's also happened is that, defensively, they might be up and into the market for a corner, but I think Indianapolis, it's clear. They play physically. By the way, you watch a couple of their scheme plays that Shane Steichen's put together. Tyler Warren's involved. Alec Pierce is involved. Lots of these other really good offensive weapons have been involved. So I like with the way that the Colts have been playing, so that's where I got them up at the number 1 spot. And with that, that's my top 10 up from there. Colts, Broncos, Chiefs, Packers, Lions, Seahawks, Rams, Patriots, Bucks, and Eagles. Not much has changed other than the fact that Green Bay, after that Sunday night football game, they moved up. Those other 3 teams, they are on bye weeks, but they still are some pretty good teams. And these are teams, by the way, Chase, the reason that they're still up at top 10 is because they all have coaches that are capable of winning after the bye. That's the one thing that you also have to keep in mind.
That is well deserved for them.
It is.
They're working on Daniel Jones, signing him to a long-term contract extension.
Well, they should.
Franchise quarterback of the Colts. And then Anthony Richardson was having another surgery again with an orbital injury that he was having, and he could be on the trade block.
Well, and they should, because listen, if let's be honest here, if you were the Colts, do you really want to go through that quarterback hell again after Andrew Luck? I wouldn't. And Daniel Jones, I feel like Sam Darnold to some extent, even Baker Mayfield, when you find a lot of that rejuvenation, because remember, go back to the 2019 draft class. It was Kyler Murray and it was Daniel Jones, 2 quarterbacks. One apparently seems to be having a rejuvenated year. If he wins a playoff game, I don't care what anybody says. Daniel Jones is better than Kyler Murray. Honestly, if he wins a playoff game, he will be better than Kyler Murray. And what do you think Kyler Murray is going to have to say about that?
Yeah. I mean, you need a better team for Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley said this a couple of years ago, that he believed that Daniel Jones was a franchise quarterback, and he believed that Daniel Jones had what it takes to be a good quarterback. Now you're finally seeing it with the team with a good offensive line, a top 5 running back in the league, and 2 good offensive playmakers in Michael Pittman Jr. And Josh Downs and everything. And now you're seeing, and Alec Pierce. And now you're seeing what this offense is capable of, not to mention with the addition of Tyler Warren in at the tight end spot. You could be looking at a Colts team that is making a big push to get some defense by the trade deadline to kind of,
I think they're definitely in the market for a corner.
And
I would say if you get a complimentary edge rusher, like that's going to do well for Laiatu Latu. I know that, like, and listen, top to bottom with the Colts, I will say this. I love with the way that the regime right now is running, especially when you have the daughter running things. She's down there on the field. And by the way, the sisters, one of them is basically being out there being the talent scout. They're jotting notes down, which is not usual that you see this for many owners. Like, I watch Arthur Blank all the time go down on the field with the Falcons. He loves the franchise. He loves the fan base. You watch what happened with the daughter of the Ford family, how the Lions turned things around. The Colts, they've been waiting for this. And by the way, think about this. Years ago, people wanted Chris Ballard gone. And then all of a sudden, all of his draft picks that he's had are hitting. And all they needed to do was just get the quarterback to execute, spread the ball. Jonathan Taylor running the football. Run game is now efficient. That's all you needed. And the Colts, it's got to be some good stuff. I really have to make a trip to Indianapolis because
I really want to see the uptake in defensive coaches and stuff, because I know there's a lot of offensive coaches that are going to get a lot of shots, like maybe Cliff Kingsbury getting another shot, Joe Brady getting shot.
I don't think Cliff Kingsbury, I'll be honest, I don't think that he's going to want to take it at this moment, because you're seeing what's happening with Washington right now. I don't think there's really a perfect situation that he's going to want to take it, because right now, think about it. If Arizona decided to fire Jonathan Gannon tomorrow, I would tell you Arizona would be a good job, because, one, you should be getting a top draft pick to get a quarterback, whomever that may be. But this is also a pretty good roster construction. You just need to have the right personnel to make it all work.
Yeah. I mean, the guy I really want to see, and I'm trusting the head coach, because he's done it for so many years and he knows what he's talking about, and the players absolutely love him, and that is Jesse Minter. Jim Harbaugh talks highly of him. The players talk highly of him. They absolutely love and adore him, and I do think that he's got that it factor, and I think he's going to be a great head coach.
I think what's happening is, at least with the Chargers, I do believe Jesse Minter is capable of having a head coaching job. But, however, he has had weeks where the defense taken some hits. Maybe not quite this year, but maybe that next year that does come up. That is where I think he will be available for that. Only because, you got to think about it. They don't quite have the defense. They just got Odafe Owe. And he's already looking really good as an edge rusher out of Baltimore. They just signed Marcus Williams to the practice squad because they know Derwin James, he's dealing with an injury. They're kind of decimated with that, and you're going to need a veteran next to R.J. Mickens, the rookie. So I even made this point that I think that Minkah Fitzpatrick would honestly be an interesting pickup, in my opinion. I think that would be an interesting situation there.
But imagine Jesse Minter with Cleveland and Myles Garrett in that.
Oh, I know. I know. He would already have his handprints on the defense. I mean, there's no question. But remember this. Why not Robert Saleh and Brian Flores? Those are two guys that you know are going to be capable of wanting head coaching jobs. They're just not going to coach the Jets because that's already a dumpster fire as it is. But I do think you are going to see some coaching shakeups. I do want to talk about this, though. So yesterday I was talking about Brian Kelly being fired. And I'm going to be honest with you, Chase. There's already – what do we already have? Like 10 coaching changes? Because I'll be honest, Jerry Neuheisel at UCLA, give him a contract, please. Because offensively, you're going to make this work. I do not trust Nico for the life of me. I really don't trust Nico Imalava because I think what's happened is that he's coming into a point where it's not really looking that clear. And Indiana with Fernando Mendoza, like they were physical. Like the first game, the first drive, well, not even the first drive. Your first offensive possession, you literally throw a pick six to Indiana. Like, that's not good. I don't think they really have truthfully have had the offensive identity quite yet. There are some guys that are showing up that Neuheisel is doing well. But I was even talking with John Vogel. One of the things that I thought which was interesting is I mentioned about Garrett Nussmeier because Brian Kelly's out at LSU now. And he's going to be the one coming out into the draft. And I do believe there is a part of me that believes Garrett Nussmeier is a good pick for a team that needs a quarterback because I could see his pocket awareness. I know that he can be capable of throwing downfield. But here's the other thing that I'm also conflicted by. Was it mostly because of the conservative play calling by Brian Kelly, even against that horrible route against Texas A&M? Is that why, like, Nussmeier hadn't even been playing his best? Because I don't know about you, but Brian Kelly, much like James Franklin, these are two guys that just cannot get skill positions right. Now, listen, you can say what you want to about Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. I'm talking about the Brian Kelly Notre Dame. The only athletic quarterback that he had was Everett Goldston. That was the only athletic quarterback that he had in his tenure in Notre Dame. Ain't had that. Well, DeShone Kizer, I mean, look, we all knew what he was going to be by the time that he came into the pros. But
he sucked in the pros, but in college he was good.
The problem of it is I just think there's part of it where, I mean, listen, Jana Daniels was already primed to be an NFL quarterback. From his day at ASU and then going into LSU, that pushed a lot more of his pro stock. Okay, it wasn't really all about Brian Kelly. Okay, the defense looked good for LSU right now, but I got to be honest. Should we see a return for Coach O in Louisiana?
Lane Kiffin get offered a massive deal to come to LSU.
You think so? You think that he's honestly going to cave, knowing that his daughter is literally dating one of the players from LSU?
That or Weeks. Weeks is the player. Or you could go offer Kirk Cignetti a massive contract and get him out.
Well, Kirk Cignetti's not going anywhere. He's already got
money talks.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Indiana, like, first of all, listen, the state of Indiana has been really good for sports. We had the Pacers in the final. The Colts right now are 7-1. The Indiana right now is literally top 5 in the country. Like you really think, and then the Fever have Caitlin Clark. You really think they're going to honestly let Kurt Signetti walk away with the way that things are going right now and Fernando Mendoza? No way. Kurt Signetti has built together a culture that he's done in a basketball program. You got to think about that. Like that's not like heard of at all. And I think Indiana, they realize it. They know he's a hot commodity. They know the intelligence that he has and the recruitment power that he has with the pipelines. They're not going to let that go. They're going to do whatever it takes. Now, if you told me that there's a possible chance Marcus Freeman could be up and onto the move, that is where, if Indiana locked up Kurt Signetti for years, why can't Notre Dame come up with the money that they get, the Catholic money from NBC and all the rest of the other stuff that they get? Why can't they come up with the money to keep Marcus Freeman and tell all the other teams, keep your hands off? You know what I mean? That could be one. So, yeah, that's going to be crazy. But I just think, in college football, there's been a lot of changes. There has been a lot of changes.
There have been. I mean, I see a lot more happening and everything. I can see a lot more, coaches either getting fired or, positions changing, guys either coming to the team because, like, we saw what happened with Ohio State's defensive coordinator going to Penn State and everything. Well, now that Franklin's gone, it's just like, where's he going to end up? Is he going to stay there? Is he going to leave? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what shakes up in the college ranks and to see what, like, small town coaches like a Matt Campbell from Iowa State, if he takes a big time job somewhere.
Yeah, I think that because college football, it's classic when they do this, because there are some things that we know college football, it's very tribal. There's a lot of expectations. And by the way, even with what I talked about with John Vogel, he even mentioned about this that nobody's talking about. Do you realize that these NILs are going to go up to about 10 million plus? They're not talking about that, which is going to cause a lot of players to stay up in college because they're getting more money off of their NIL deals. So which means more work for coaches. Like you're Penn State, and James Franklin needs to tap into that Penn State money. You already know that. And that's what they failed to do. It drove people crazy. They couldn't deal with it. And I think the other thing that also gets people is because, again, I think James Franklin can honestly work at Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy's gone. It's a step back, but it's not a crucial step back to where this is where you belong. I think it's a step back to where you got to get ready for the next big boy job. Because for you to be, 3-15 against all these top 10, top 5 ranked teams, that's unacceptable in itself. So I think he can build the culture up in Oklahoma State. I think Brian Kelly, people were thinking Brian Kelly to Penn State. Are you kidding me? I know Penn State is physical and it kind of feels like it could be a fit, but the last thing you want is back-to-back conservative coaches that just can't get the skills position right. You're telling me Brian Kelly could literally recruit like that at Penn State to get a wide receiver?
Yeah, that's why I think Drew Aller is not like that bad of a quarterback. It's just he had nothing to work with.
No, but even John Vogel mentioned this. Take a medical administrative leave. Come back for another year because you already are dealing with a season-ending injury, which is unfair, at least for a quarterback that is trying to get his draft stock. So come back for another year on your medical, it's usually a medical administrative leave at that point because you're coming back. You just got to get away from James Franklin. That's really all you got to have. So I think Drew Aller, there could be a chance that can happen. How it will happen, left to be said.
The only good offensive playmaker that he had last year was Tyler Warren and everything, and that.
Well, Tyler Warren, but I will say this though: the ground game has looked really impressive.
It has, but I'm talking in terms of like wide receivers. Like if he had his own version of Brian Thomas Jr. or his own version of Malik Neighbors or his own version of Cardinal Tate or Jeremiah,
he did
Smith,
have.
we'd see a different Drew Aller.
Well, here's the truth. He did have Keandre Lambert-Smith. He transferred to Auburn. Okay, that was the one big play receiver. I know everybody wants to come back with, what about Allen Robinson or, Chris Godwin?
He didn't have any of those guys. He wasn't the QB.
No, he wasn't the QB, but they're saying as far as skill play-wise at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. And Keandre Lambert-Smith, by the way, he was the best receiver at Auburn. Like, you do realize as a big play receiver, that kid could have given you something. Usually it always
a big deal there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just don't know when they'll figure out that skill position, but it has to come soon. Because Penn State fans can't be sitting and waiting around longer and just feel like, oh, we just run the football more often and we continue to play very good physical defense. They're capable of that. To beat Ohio State's, your Alabamas, and a lot of these other top schools, you have to not only just be physical up and into the trenches, you have to be creative in the air too. That's why Ty Simpson looks as good as he does right now in Alabama, because they know they got Ryan Williams and they even got the other cat. And Ohio State, I don't even need to say much. Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sands. Yeah, they have receivers. It's not – what's making it so easy for Ohio State is because look at all the other competitions that's around them right now. Brian Kelly gets fired. James Franklin gets fired. They're just losing their minds.
That's one guy I could see leaving and taking some talent with him, and that is what I am terrified with is Brian Hartline.
Yeah, because, Brian Hartline, I'd like to see
if he got offered the Penn State job, Chris Henry, one of our top wide receivers for this next year, would decommit and go to Penn State because a lot of these guys say that the reason why they have come to Ohio State is because of Brian Hartline and because
they know
the guy that can get them to the NFL because he's been there.
Well, you know what? They've the thing about it is that Brian Hartline, they saw with the receiving track record that he's had with all of those wide receivers, they know he is capable of shaping all of them up. We're watching all of them in the pros right now. So they know he's more than capable of setting together like a spread offense type that can get all the receivers out there. And not to mention this, the run game in the past few years, like Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, was a very good 1-2 punch. We've even seen this in the past where they even had a couple of other good running backs I liked. And it's worked out. It's worked out for the most part. So I think there's new opportunities for coaches that are currently in to step up and go into bigger roles. And then there are coaches like Brian Hartline that deserve a shot and see what he's got.
I hope he stays with Ohio State, but I want him to have his shot so bad. But I do not want to lose any of this talent. I do not. Of course. Because I know the moment he gets hired in somewhere, whether it be Penn State.
Let me ask you this. Would you be happy with Brian Hartline in Florida?
I would love to see it in Florida. The only problem is Chris Henry. I could see Jeremiah Smith.
But here's the thing.
Going to Florida and everything.
But here's the thing. Brian Hartline, because I think in the last few quarterbacks, of those, who was really athletically talented? Because I know these were a lot of pocket guys. Like Kyle McCord was a pocket guy. Will Howard clearly was a pocket guy that you could still move around, but not like that. You had CJ Stroud was the
most one.
Yeah, well, even with CJ, he had very good pocket presence. He could get the ball out and sling it. I would even say Justin Fields. Justin Fields was even just the only one that I know can run, can throw. And so that's why I'm like, with DJ Lagway, all you got to do is just get some consistency and structure. And even if you get a talented receiver up and in there, I think they addressed a couple of them during the portal But I'm telling you, I was just like, I don't know what I saw with Billy Napier. I really didn't even see anything in Florida. It was just the same stuff. And DJ Lagway is just saving his job. And then eventually it came down to the point it's not working. Like, LSU's losing their mind. So Florida can't be looking at it that bad to losing Billy Napier.
There's a
LSU
chance
going
Ed
through a problem.
Orgeron might actually get a shot to coach again. So,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Should LSU honestly bring back Coach O? I mean, he's a great recruiter, and he left it off in a great way. You got a national championship with Joe Burrow and that loaded offense. Why not? I mean, that's the only best way that you can honestly describe it. And who knows? There may be some quarterbacks in the portal.
Freaking Urban Meyer at LSU.
Ha! You think many people are even thinking, should we honestly bring back Nick Saban at LSU? Remember that?
Ooh. Nick Saban at LSU going up against Bama every year, that'd be hilarious.
Oh my God. That would just be tears in Alabama fans' eyes. Look, they've seen him before up in LSU. He was a hot commodity, and then all of a sudden he got the opportunity to go up to Alabama. I mean, look at it this way. You had Urban Meyer coming out from Utah to Florida and then coaching up and into the Big Ten at Ohio State. Like, that was a lot of hell, by the way. When you watch the Swamp Kings documentary, that's a lot of hell Urban Meyer had to deal with in Florida. SEC is no joke. That's why everybody, when they talk about the SEC, like they're losing their minds right now. But that doesn't mean that they have completely been stripped of their power to Big Ten, because Big Ten's playing great football. They lost James Franklin. That's it. But I got Indiana. I got Ohio State. I got low-key. Michigan could sometimes be a pain in the you-know-what. They've been playing pretty good football. So
Oregon.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you got. So I think SEC fans, they just need to take a chill pill, stop feeling like the sky is falling, and for a lot of other fans, they haven't completely stripped themselves of their power just yet. They haven't done that. So Big Ten's just been playing they've been playing very good football as of recently.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it up there yet. So, all right, good show tonight. I know we were expecting up and on to our guest. Not sure what happened, but we'll definitely be taking a rain check for the next time up in our head. But appreciate everybody for coming on by here, up and on to the show tonight. Lots and lots of things going on. I'm definitely going to be watching the rest of the World Series because after 18 innings last night. By the way, I just saw Vladdy just ended up hitting a homer. He got to Shohei Ohtani on the slider, so I got to catch the rest of this
come on, Blue Jays, knock off these Dodgers.
With Chase and myself, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next week.